Good morning, dear students. How are you? I hope you are fine and well. Today we are going to begin our novel for this year, which is The Prisoner of Zenda. The word prisoner means a person who has been kept in a room or in a prison. He can't go anywhere. Zenda is the name of a city. We are going to find it in a lot of events are going to happen in it in our novel. The Prisoner of Zenda is a book written by the English writer Anthony Hope. The events had taken place in a fictional country called Ruritania, which is located in Europe in the late 19th century. Fictional country, the word fictional means it's not real country, it is from the imagination of the writer. No country is called Ruritania. It's a romantic adventure novel. Romantic means you are going to find a lot of feelings, loyalty and honesty from a lot of people towards each other, and adventure, you are going to find a lot of exciting events. The places we are going to see in our story: first of all, Ruritania, the fictional country we have talked about; Strelso, the capital of Ruritania; Zenda, a small town 80 kilometers from Strelso, and there is a great castle there; the Hunting Lodge, a small wooden house in the forest of Zenda. Then our characters: Rodolphe Rossendel, he is our main character. Rodolphe V, he is the king of Ruritania. We are going to see his coronation. Coronation is a great ceremony. They crown in it the person to be the king. Duke Michael, he is the brother of Rodolphe V, the king of Ruritania. Princess Flavia, she is the cousin of Rodolphe V and Duke Michael. She is from the Alfberg royal family. Colonel Saptan Fritz are two men serving the king Rodolphe V. Antoinette de Maupin, she is a French beautiful lady. She was in love with Duke Michael. Robert Henters was one of the men who were serving Duke Michael. Joan, a servant of the king Rodolphe V, and Marshal Strachan is the head of the army. Now we are going to deal with the events of chapters 1, 2, and 3, and after we have finished, to read the chapters from your own book in details. The events began by a conversation between Rodolphe Rossendel and Rose, his sister-in-law. Rose was his sister-in-law, meaning that she was the wife of his brother. Rossendel had a brother called Robert. His wife was called Rose. As she was asking him to work because he is 29 years old and until now he doesn't have a job. Rossendel was 29 years old. He didn't like the idea of working. He didn't have a job. So Rose was all the time asking him to work and to have a job. Rodolphe doesn't like the idea of working, and they are a rich family, and his brother is Lord of Pearsden, and he is working hard to improve the fortune of his family. Rossendel didn't like the idea of working. He considered himself a very rich man from a rich family. There is no need to work. His brother was working very hard to improve or increase the wealth of their family. Rodolphe considered himself had done a lot of things in his life instead of working. He had learned French, German, Italian, and Spanish. Rodolphe Rossendel was all the time considering himself doing a lot of important things more than working. He had learned more than one language, as we have said: French, German, Italian, and Spanish. He can use a sword and gun in shooting, a sword in a very well way, and a gun in shooting in a very good way, and could ride a horse. He was able to do a lot of things more than his brother. His brother can do anything from this. The two brothers weren't different in their personality. and the idea of working only, but there was an obvious difference in the color of their hair. Robert's hair was black, but Rassendel's hair was very red with a long, sharp nose. The two brothers were completely different in their personality and in their appearance. In their personality, Rodolphe was all the time enjoying himself, doing a lot of things instead of working, and Robert was all the time working. This is according to the personality. For appearance, Rodolphe has red hair and Robert has black hair. Rodolphe had got the red hair from the Elfbergs family when a lady from his family had a relation with one of the kings in the Elfberg family. Rose, as we have said, she is his sister-in-law, the wife of his brother, was nuisance. She was an annoying woman for Rodolphe. She was asking him all the time to work. She was all the time asking Rassendel to work. Rose has brought him a job to be an assistant to an ambassador. He would start in about 6 months. When she found him didn't like the idea of working, she had brought for him a job. Rassendel agreed to work to stop her from complaining and annoying him. Rassendel will travel to Switzerland, try to book until he begins the job. This is what he told Rose. To stop her from annoying him and complaining all the time that he is not working, he decided to tell her that he agreed to work, but until the 6 months passed, he is going to travel to Switzerland to write a book. This is what he told her and his brother. In reality, he is not going to go to Switzerland. He decided to go to Mauritania when he read in the newspaper about the coronation of the King Rodolphe V. In reality, Rassendel decided to visit Mauritania to attend the coronation of King Rodolphe V in the palace of Strelse. He didn't tell anyone where he was going, so no one would stop him. They helped him to prepare the papers to travel to Switzerland until he became an ambassador's assistant. Rassendel was going to Mauritania without anyone knowing this. On his way, he had passed through Paris. On Rassendel's way to Mauritania, he passed through Paris. He had visited many places there. He had known about the French beautiful lady Antoinette de Maupin, who is interested in the Duke of Strelse, Duke Michael. As we have said, this person is the brother of Rodolphe V. Michael wants to be king of Mauritania himself, but because his mother was the old king's second wife, he can never become king. The old king made him a duke instead. Michael was hoping all the time to be the king of Mauritania, but it was very difficult to happen because his mother was the second wife of the king. He is a half-brother to Rodolphe V, the king of Mauritania. His mother wasn't from the royal family, so it's very difficult to be the king. And his brother gave him the title Duke of Strelse to satisfy him. People call Rodolphe V half-brother Black Michael because he had black hair, not like the Elfberg royal family, who all of them have the red hair. Because he had black hair instead of the red hair that the Elfbergs have. Rassendel had met Antoinette de Maupin in the train station and got on the same train to travel to Strelse to attend the coronation of Rodolphe V. Rassendel and Antoinette had ridden the same train to go to Strelse to attend the coronation. She was invited by Duke Michael. But Rassendel will decide to stop at Zenda. It's a city before Strelse. While traveling, Rassendel had read in the newspaper that Strelse would be very busy and it would be very difficult to find a room there. he had known that the city, the capital of Ruritania, Strelso, is very crowded. People from all over the world had come to attend the coronation, so he decided to stop at Zenda till the time of the coronation, because it will be very difficult for him to find a place to stay in. While traveling, Rassendyll had read in the newspaper that Strelso would be very busy and it would be very difficult to find a room there. So he decided to stop at Zenda, which is a small town before the capital, Strelso. Rassendyll would spend the time till the coronation there, but Antoinette de Maupin stayed on the train to go to Strelso. At Zenda, where Rassendyll is going to stay, he will stay in a small inn. Inn means a small hotel. He will spend the time till he go to Strelso to attend the coronation. At Zenda, Rassendyll stayed at an inn which was owned by a fat lady and her two daughters. Rassendyll had known from one of the daughters that some people wanted the Duke to be on the throne instead of his brother Rodolphe V. He had known that the people of Ruritania, some of them are interested in Black Michael or Duke Michael more than the king. They hope that Duke Michael will be on throne to be the king of the country. They both want to be the kings and want to marry their cousin Princess Flavia. Any one of them, Rodolphe V or Duke Michael, the one who will be the king, he must marry his cousin Princess Flavia because she is from the royal family. Duke Michael is second in line, so he can never become the king even if Rodolphe dies unless he marries Princess Flavia, as she is a red-haired Elfberg. As we have said, Black Michael or Duke Michael is not from the royal family. His mother is not from the royal family, so he can't be the king. He can't be the king. He can be the king only under one condition: to marry his cousin Princess Flavia. The new king, Rodolphe V, was staying at the hunting lodge in Zenda while Black Michael was getting things ready in Strelso. Rodolphe V was a king, but he was not so interested in the things related to the country. He is not so interested in the people. He wasn't near them. He spent his time enjoying himself in Zenda till the time of the coronation. Who was preparing for everything? Duke Michael was preparing everything for the coronation. Juan was one of the king's guards, and he was very surprised when he saw Rassendyll with his red hair in the inn. While Rassendyll was spending his time in the inn waiting to travel to Strelso, Juan, one of the king's servants, had seen Rassendyll, and he was so surprised to see a person had red hair instead of the royal family. Juan offered Rassendyll a room in Strelso to stay in at his sister's house, and he accepted this offer. He knew that Rassendyll is coming to attend the coronation, and he had made for him an offer for a place to stay in. Next morning, Rassendyll went for a walk in Zenda. Next morning, Rassendyll decided to have a walk in Zenda to see the great castle which is there before he travels. He wanted to see the castle. The old castle was surrounded with a deep, wide moat around it, and the only way to enter was by a drawbridge, a movable bridge. Rassendyll had rested under the shade of the trees and fallen asleep. He walked a lot and he felt tired, so he decided to have a rest under a tree. He woke up when he heard a loud voice saying, if you shaved his beard off, he would be the king. He heard two people were talking, saying that he looked exactly like the king, except he had a beard. If he shaved it, he will be exactly like the king. The two men were Colonel Sapt and Count Fritz von Trallenham, who were serving the king. As we have known, the king is spending his time in Zenda, and those two people were serving him. They were having a walk in Zenda when they had seen Rassendyll having a rest under the tree. The two men noticed that Rassendyll had the same red hair like King Rodolph V. Rassendyll and the king met each other in the forest. They were almost exactly the same. While they were talking with him, he found the king. When they stand in front of each other, they were exactly the same, as if every one of them is looking in a mirror, except Rassendyll had a beard and mustache. They had the same red hair and the same age and the same height. They looked identical, exactly like each other. The only difference was that Rassendyll had a beard and mustache, while the king was clean shaved. He didn't have a beard or mustache. But there were other little differences in the height, and the king's face was a little rounder. These were small differences not noticed by anyone. The king wanted Rassendyll to leave Ruritania immediately, as Duke Michael could use the similarity in their appearance to get rid of the king. He knew very well that Duke Michael might do anything to be the king. They spent the night at the hunting lodge of Duke Michael, but Rassendyll immediately decided to leave without attending the coronation. But the king insists that they will spend the night together. The king was staying at the hunting lodge, and they are going to have dinner together, and in the morning the king will go to Strelso to attend the coronation, and Rassendyll will leave to his country. There were only two servants, Joseph and Joanne's mother. They spent the night at the hunting lodge of Duke Michael. There were only two servants, Joseph and Joanne's mother. They had dinner together and drank a lot of wine. When they decided to stop drinking, Joseph came in with another bottle of wine, which was sent to the king by his brother, Duke Michael. King Rodolph V loved drinking a lot. They had drank a lot, but after they decided to sleep, Joseph came in with a bottle of wine to the king. It had been brought to him sent to him by his brother. It was a very good kind of wine. The king was a very good drinker, so he couldn't resist the good bottle of wine which was sent to him and drank it empty. He didn't leave any drop of it. He drank it all. Then they all had fallen asleep. All of them had fallen asleep. By this we have finished the first 3 chapters. You have to read them in details once more from your book. See you later.